Good morning, Canada. My name is Nigella Lawson, and today on Nigella Bites, I will be showing you how to make the human brain. I love the brain because it is such an important main dish. A good brain acts as a control center and makes all the side dishes work together to be one delicious, fully functioning meal. It may look complex, but I promise you, if you can break it down, it's actually quite simple. So you can buy most of your ingredients at a specialty food store. That's where I bought mine. So the first ingredient is the cerebrum. Now the cerebrum is the main part of the brain. And when you're looking for a cerebrum, you want to pick one that has many inner folds. As you can see, mine has many inner folds. It's linked to higher intelligence, and that's going to really give it that bold flavor that you're looking for. Secondly is the cerebellum. Then you have the hypothalamus, the thalamus, the medulla oblongata, the pons, and the pituitary gland. You can buy the pituitary gland in bulk if you're looking for something cheaper, but I wouldn't recommend it. Now let's get cooking. So for this recipe, we're going to start out with the cerebrum. The cerebrum controls voluntary movement, mental activity, and intelligence. It's the largest part of the brain, and it's separated into two hemispheres, the left and the right, and four lobes. The four lobes are the frontal, which controls voluntary control, moral behaviors, and emotions. The parietal, which is senses and taste, and that's right at the top. The temporal is hearing, equilibrium, emotion, and memory. And the occipital lobe, which is at the very back, controls vision. And the cerebrum makes up 2/3 of the mass of the brain. So the first step, we start with the cerebrum and we flip it over. At this point, we're going to add in the diencephalon, which is actually two parts, the thalamus and the hypothalamus, and a special ingredient, the pituitary gland. To make room in the cerebrum for the diencephalon, we just need to take a little bit out of the center. Like that. Now we're going to add in, first of all, the thalamus. So the thalamus channels sensory impulses to appropriate regions of the cortex for interpretation. Directly below the thalamus is the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus works in conjunction with the pituitary gland, which links the nervous system to the endocrine system. The pituitary gland is the master gland of the endocrine system. It's where most of the body's hormones are secreted. Now that we've added the diencephalon, we can flip it over and add a bit of cerebellum. Oh, look at this beautiful cerebellum. The cerebellum coordinates muscle movement, balance, timing, and body position. It is so important in this recipe. It makes up 11% of the brain's mass. So to make the cerebellum fit in the brain, we just have to trim a little bit of the cerebrum off, not much. I'll show it facing you. So it should just fit over the brain like that. And it just goes right behind the occipital lobe, just underneath. Now that we've assembled the cerebellum and the cerebrum, we're just going to put it aside to rest for about 10 minutes. While that's resting, we're going to start on the brainstem. The brainstem is in the posterior part of the brain and connects the cerebrum to the spinal cord. It's made up of two parts, the medulla oblongata and the pons. So first we're going to start with the medulla oblongata. The medulla oblongata is the first extension of the spinal cord, and it's the vital center. It controls breathing rate, heart rate, blood pressure, coughing, swallowing, and many other functions. Attached to the medulla oblongata is the pons. It's a bulge above the spinal cord, and it relays messages between the spinal cord and the brain. To attach them, I just cut half a toothpick, and you just put one attached to the other. And there you go, you have your brainstem. I trimmed the brainstem so you could see it a little bit better, but now the cerebellum has rested and you can see what it looks like. We're just going to put the brainstem right in the posterior part as well, just like that, and attach it like that. It smells amazing. So now the brain is finished. Great job. On an aside though, If your surfaces have any bacteria or viruses on them, that could potentially give your brain meningitis, which is potentially fatal and will ruin your dish. So you really want to make sure that all your surfaces and your hands are clean at all times. Now that we've gone so far and put in so much work to make this beautiful brain, we need to protect it while it goes in the oven. So to do that, there's 3 layers that we need to add. The first one is the pia mater. That's the innermost layer of the brain. On top of that, we need to add on some cerebrospinal fluid. You just need to coat it. The middle layer is the arachnoid meter. And lastly, we need to add on the thick top layer that touches the skull. That's the dura meter. Now that it's protected, it's ready to go in the oven. Put the brain in the oven at approximately 37 degrees Celsius. If you think your brain's going to be in for a bumpy ride, you should probably consider extra protection. When it's reached an internal temperature of 37 degrees Celsius, it is done and you can take it out of the oven. Let the brain rest for about 20 minutes and then you can cut it up and serve it at any reunion or family party. It's sure to be a hit. It looks gorgeous. It's delicious. This is Nigella Lawson. Thanks for watching and come in next week where we try some more organ delicacies.